Okay, so as I was saying, Lizzie and I lived close to each other, but didn't know each other. But I knew of her, and I knew her mom, and I knew her family. And you know how it is with Facebook that you kind of know that you should know people, or you've seen them enough that you add them anyway, even though you don't know them very well. So I think I sent her a friend request on Facebook, and she accepted it. And so I was following her Plexus journey, and I commented on one of her testimonials or something, and she did what every good ambassador should do, and she said, "I'll PM you." And when she did that, she of course PM'd me and shared testimonies with me, and then she continued to follow up with me for months, even though I was one of those people that didn't always respond to her follow-ups. And yeah, I was one of those bad people that just, like, she probably thought that I was like not even interested, but she kept doing her thing anyway. It worked. Go ahead, Lindsay. Tell us about yourself. Tell us your story.
Oh my, that's so funny. You know, Kyla and I actually were sat at the same restaurant together at the same table. We went to a conference together, and then afterwards we all went out to eat together, and we all sat at this long table, and she was just a couple people down, but I never met her. It was the strangest thing. And so anyway, but my mom knew her, and I had seen her walking on the bridge because I passed where I worked. I passed by where when you would walk with Carolyn. And so it was just funny, just the way that our worlds connect, but yet not.
Yeah, totally.
But so I am actually from Tennessee, and I married a guy from Alaska, and so I now live here. So I've been here about 2.5 years. And, you know, my journey began a little just 3 years ago. In February, it was 3 years. And Carl and I were dating. And, I was looking for a plan B. I was praying about something and wasn't sure exactly what that would be yet. And I worked full-time in a ministry. I made $20,000 a year, which was awesome. I loved it. And it was where God had me. And I also did photography on the side. I had a side eBay business. I would buy purses and from thrift stores and resell them on eBay. And it was great. I loved it. And so our neighbor shared with us about Plexus. And I had actually seen Sonia Dudley, who's one of our uplines. I had seen her post in September or something, like right after she got involved in Plexus. I saw her post, and I actually knew Sonia. We'd gone to church together for years. I dog sat for her and different things. So I knew Sonia, but we'd kind of lost touch. And I saw it on her Facebook, and I was like, oh, it's a scam. Like I automatically, so that was my first exposure to Plexus. And then our neighbor shared with my mom. And so she had come, you know, one night when I wasn't there and shared with mom. And mom told me about it, and she's like, it's this little pink drink. And I was like, you are crazy. And then I was there the next night, and I was actually leaving the next morning to go to Alaska to visit Carl and to meet his family. And so our neighbor came back over, Teresa, and she was the sheriff's wife in our small town of 7,000, and she was also an RN. And so, like, I trusted her opinion, I guess you could say, but I was still very skeptical. And so mom, she shared with us about the products and just a tad about the business, but she mainly focused on the products. And I was still very skeptical. Mom's like, I'm going to sign up. And I was like, you're going to sign up, then I'll sign up. And so it was just one of those things. It wasn't very thought out or anything. And so I signed up under my mom. And I flew out the very next morning to Alaska. And so they were telling me, Alaska's wide open. You should take a bunch of 3-day trials and you'll sell them. Like, I promise you, like, you'll go there and you'll just talk to everybody and you'll sell them. I was just like, you guys are crazy. But I packed them anyway in my suitcase. And so they had me fired up from day one, from like my very first exposure to Plexus, or, you know, second exposure. When I signed up, they had me excited. And so I flew out, went and visited Carl, and right before we did, Stacy, who was Teresa's upline, shared with us about the business. And Stacy had been with the company about 5 months, and she was making about $8,000 a month. And so I thought, and she had also got the free Lexus. So she had hit Emerald. And I was just like, okay, I just want the car. Like, seriously. But anyway, and so I was like, if I could make $300 a month, that would make a difference in my income. And it would give me something to do for when I moved up here. And honestly, like Carl and I talked about it, and I was like, I could open a herb store in Alaska. I could open a coffee shop. And when I came here, there's literally a coffee shop every quarter mile. So it's just one of those little drive-through stands. So I was like, oh, wow. So anyway, so I came and I shared with Carl. I told him, hey, so I signed up for this thing called Plexus. And he was like, okay. And so anyway, he was my first ambassador. I signed him up, and about a week later. And so he reluctantly, like, he gave me his credit card, and I go to take it, and he pulls it back, and he's like, I told him, I was like, you don't have to do this. Like, I don't want to pressure you. And he's like, no, really, I want to. And he goes to hand it to me. If you know Carl at all, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quiet.
Yes. So he signed up, and we went out to eat with his boss, and they were actually like trying to see if I was okay for Carl, and they were gonna, interrogate me and everything. And so I told Carl, I said, we're gonna take our Plexus, and when we go to eat, we're going out to eat, I was like, we're gonna mix it in our cup in front of them, and then they're gonna ask us what's Plexus. And so we did, and they didn't ask. I was like, oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was so excited, and I still am excited, but just that, like, when you that new excitement of just signing up and realizing what you have. And so anyway, I would encourage anybody, even if if you signed up and you didn't have that right away, you can still have that now. You can decide, I'm going to be excited about this. And, any time in your journey, you can do that. And so I would just encourage anybody just to be passionate and excited about your journey and realize what you have, because you have a whole team, at home office in Arizona that just built 100,000 square foot building. And they're handling everything. And so we have a business that is ready in a box, literally. And we have customer service and shipping's getting better, I promise. And everything, right there for us at our disposal. And so all we have to do is share. And so I came home from Alaska. I researched while I was there, as much as a blue person can research. And Kyla, I thought, would appreciate that. And so I researched as much as I could, and then came home, and I just started telling everyone. And I didn't have a testimony yet. I took the products for about 2.5, 3 months before I noticed anything. And it was hard because, oops, someone disappeared. It was hard because I didn't have, a glowing testimony. People would ask me, so Liz, what's it done for you? I was like, well, and so, and I just shared other people's testimony, and I really focused on other people's testimony. I started posting on Facebook right away, my first week, and I shared with people at home. And so I continued to be faithful with the products and to drink my water. I added the probiotic and the BioCleanse, and I started noticing, oh, wow, things are improving. And started getting a testimony. But, it took a while. I didn't lose weight right away. It took, several months for that to happen. And so, anyway, I would encourage, even if you don't have to have a testimony before you start sharing and before you start, being passionate about it. So anyway, I talked to a lot of people, and I'm from an area where everybody either owns their own business or works for someone that owns their own business. And no one does network marketing. And so I was the oddball out, and they all laughed at me and they said, Liz, you are crazy. And I was like, you know what? And I had belief. And I think that's so important, and it's so foundational, because you need to have belief. And you need to have belief in your products, you need to have belief in the company, and then you need to have belief in yourself. And so I had belief. I surrounded myself with positive people that had belief. So even if I didn't have it all the way right then, I borrowed it from them. And so that was so pivotal for me, I believe, in my journey. And I went to every meeting that I could because I didn't know everything. I was a new ambassador, and was very new, didn't know, there was still so much that I didn't know. And so I went to every meeting that I could. Even if I drove 3 hours to go to a meeting, I went to a meeting. And so even if I'd heard the same person do the meeting, I still drove 3 hours to go to the meeting because it built my belief. And I always picked someone. And that really helped build my business as well, because even if I couldn't relay the information properly to them, then they could, maybe I told them and exposed them to Plexus. Then I would take them to a meeting, and then they would see, they would hear from, someone that had been in the business longer and that knew more. And then they would hear the testimonies. And so it was all that third party validation. And so that's how that really grew my business quickly, because I was persistent with the meetings and took everybody. I was like, here, we're going to go to a meeting. When can I pick you up? And we'll grab coffee too. And so it was just fun. I made it fun. And so that was really helpful. And then I think I went silver in my first month. And then I joined in February, and then got engaged in May and started planning a wedding. And then in June, a month before I got married, I went to the convention in New Orleans. And I think it was their third convention, I believe it was. And my mom was supposed to go. Several of my uplines were going. And I was like, I don't know if I should go. Like, I'm getting married in a month. I'm planning a wedding and everything. And I was just like, you know what? This is the only thing that I'm going to be able to do before I move. And I'm going to be really far away and alone in Alaska without a lot of other people, Plexus people. And so I decided I talked to Carl, and I was like, what do you think? And so I ended up going to that convention. All the people, my mom and her upline, ended up not going to convention. And so they ended up backing out, and I went by myself. So I didn't have anyone to stay with. I looked on the Facebook page, and I found 2 other ladies that wanted to share a room, and I stayed with them. I did not know them, and they were crazy, but it was great. Like, it helped give me, a different perspective. And, I was like, if they can do it, then I can do it. So that helped. And so I went to convention, and it really just opened my eyes. There was Sheila Medina was the first diamond, and she was recognized as the first diamond on stage. And then there were several that had hit sapphire. I think maybe Sonia and Helen, Sarah Marble, all of them were sapphire at that time. And so it was like, there is only one diamond. Oh my dear, and it just made me see how ground floor, and not even just ground floor, but like, if these people can do it, then I can do it. And so I went home, and it really built my belief. So I got married the next month, and I went gold that month, and then moved to Alaska, knew 3 people up here, Carl's family. And when I moved here, my goal was just to make friends. It wasn't to go tell everybody about Plexus. It was just to build relationships, because I'm a people person. And so it's hard not having people that So I got involved in our church, and just started trying to make friends. And I looked for people of influence. And I mean, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but notice, okay, this person would be amazing. Like, you know how you go somewhere and you see the person who is, who's making things happen, who's directing the meals, who's doing this, who's organizing. Those are the people of influence. Those are the movers and shakers. And so I had met them, and I worked on building a relationship with them. And I had them over for dinner. I left a Plexus catalog out very conveniently. And they came over and they picked it up, and they're like, oh, that Plexus thing, I saw that in bulk herb store, you know? And so I was able to share a little bit with them. And then, 4 months later, they signed up. So that's kind of, I don't know, been my journey. I don't want to just sit there and blab. I feel like I'm a little bit blabbing.
No, I think you're sharing a lot of nuggets here. I'm taking notes. I feel like, these are your secrets. These are your secrets to how you've made it. So keep going.
Oh, my dear. So anyway, look for people of influence, I guess, is my biggest thing. Everybody that I looked to sign up were people of influence. And I didn't even know that's what you would call them. I was very green without being green. I looked for people that were like Lori Welch. I wanted Lori Welch. Like, we made out of our list of 100 when I first signed up, and I wanted Lori Welch. But I knew that I could not reach Lori Welch. I was in her daughter's wedding, and, I wasn't, I knew I couldn't reach her, but I knew that Amber could, and Amber was her daughter. And so I, had been talking with Amber about Plexus. And so I told Amber, I was like, Amber, you could get your mom, Immediately, I thought of Jeff, and he was a type 1 diabetic. And I was like, this could help your dad. And so Amber signed up, and it took her several months, but she was able to reach her mom. And, they have been, sorry, that's the buzzer. They have been total rock stars. And it's been huge for our team and for our growth. But looking for those people of influence, and then, building that relationship with them. Say you know someone of influence, but maybe you don't have the relationship, start building the relationship. So that you can, reach them. And there's people that I know that I knew that I couldn't reach, like Lori Welch. I couldn't reach her. So Amber was able to reach her. Amy in Hawaii. Carl knew them, and he knew that he went to church with them because they lived in Alaska first. And so Stephanie knew them, and Carl and I talked about it, and we said we couldn't reach Amy because he knew them, but he didn't know them well. And so we knew that Carl wouldn't be able to reach them with Plexus, but we knew that Stephanie could. And so, and I tell Stephanie, we used you to get to Amy, or we used you. And she's like, I'm okay with that. So just, I guess find that connection, find that. And I say used, but I don't mean it. I don't know. I hope it comes across the right way.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you changed her life in the process because
she's retired. So anyway, but I guess that's one of the biggest things, is just looking for those people. I started doing, because no one in our church took me seriously. People would ask me, so Liz, what do you do? And I was like, I work, I gave my little spill about Plexus, I work for a health and wellness company, blah, 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 Plexus. And they're like, oh, so you sell? And I was like, no. But they put me in that category because all the women at the church did Pampered Chef, doTERRA oils. They all did something like that. And so they automatically put me in that category. And so I was just like, I wasn't sure how to break out of that. And so what I did is I started doing bazaars, like little booths. I set up at booths. and shared plexus there. And you know what? I didn't know it, but all those people came to those bazaars. And so they're like, oh, you don't just do plexus, but you actually do plexus. Like you actually do something with it. And so that gave me credibility with them, because I wasn't just talking to them about it. I was actually doing something. So there was action behind it. And so I think that helped for them to see that. And that was because I wasn't going to go up to church. I wasn't going to go up at church and sit there and like give them a plexus spill. I wasn't going to sit there and prospect them. Is that the right word? At church. Like I wasn't going to go out and be like, hey, Kyla, let me tell you about plexus. And, I wasn't going to do that. That wasn't my personality. And so when I saw them at the bazaar and they came to my table, then I can talk to them because they're at my table. And so it gave me the confidence. They were coming up and asking. And so I was able to share with them and not hold anything back. And so like with Stephanie and her mom, she had seen it on my Facebook. I added her to my Facebook. She had seen it on my Facebook. And then when I did the bazaar, she came. I did about 5 different ones over in the fall, and she came to one, and I shared with them about like the financial side. And so she was like, okay. And then I followed up and then I kept following up when they had sales and different things. And, it didn't take very long because I think I talked to her in November and then they did a sale in December. So I followed up several times and then she ended up signing up with the special. And so that really propelled again, and that we signed her under Carl. So that helped really grow, has really helped to grow Carl's team. And that helped Carl go silver. And so anyway, that's kind of a little bit of my backstory. We were building a house at the same time. And so Carl was like, the checks continued to increase and started, and he was like, oh, okay, this is great, and I was like, I'm going to make Emerald. Like, I'm going for Emerald. And he was just like, okay, and I was like, this is going to be able to help us, be able to pay for things at the house. And he was like, okay, and I could tell he really didn't believe me. It was just like, no, really. And so right before we put countertops in, I hit Emerald in March of 2014. So a little over a year after I had first joined. And so he was like, oh, okay, like this is actually really making a difference. So that was exciting to be able to, put in the different countertops, that I had always wanted and, do the extra special things that really made it. And so that was kind of, I guess not the beginning, but that's kind of leading up. So I hit Emerald, and then I kind of was at Emerald for a while because I went into manager mode. So I'm just going to warn you guys now, don't go to manager mode. And I got to Emerald and everybody's like, how did you get there? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so anyway, so that was just probably almost a year I was at Emerald and, we were doing well and, we were, still growing, but I was stuck, and it was because I hadn't done personal growth. So when we say do personal growth, it really do personal growth because it really does make a difference with your business. It makes a difference with your confidence. I still do personal growth every day. And if I don't, I notice that I'm not, I don't have the confidence that I should. I notice in different areas, like, okay, I don't know, lacking because, and I know that whenever I feel that way, when I feel insecure, when I feel in different areas, I know that it's because I'm not doing personal growth. So it is so pivotal, such an important aspect of our journey. And, we're still learning things every single day. And, things that we like, oh, we should really implement this or, implement that. And that's the awesome thing is that you can, you can earn while you learn. And I think that's such a blessing because you don't have to go and get a 4-year degree to then start. You can just start and then learn as you go. And so that has been huge.
I love that, Lizzie. I have muted all of you pretty much. So let me unmute you so that you can talk. Because you guys can pick her brain. There we go. Okay, I unmuted you guys. Unmute. There's an unmute all button. I found it. Okay.
Oh no.
Mute yourself if you want to be muted back. So Lizzie, what I heard you say, I'm just going to summarize what I heard you say to see if it, if I got it. So first of all, you're saying be excited because that's really contagious, right? You're excited about it. Other people are going to get excited about it. If nothing else, they're just going to be excited because you have something to be excited about, right? And if you aren't excited, find a way to be excited. Also, use other people's testimonies. Don't feel like you have to have a great big old story before you start to share. I'm not sure whose noise that is. Somebody's chopping. Whoever's chopping, if you could just mute yourself, that would be great. I bet you're making something yummy. I did that a bit ago. Okay. And next, I heard you say to go to events, right? Like just never stop feeling like you're done learning and just keep going to events. I love how you said that. I know when I started, I tried to get out to a lot of events, and that made a real difference for me in building my confidence and belief, also for just feeling like I was part of something bigger than myself because I was kind of alone over in Northeast Tennessee, or felt alone, Lizzie was kind of far away in Alaska, a little bit far away. And so going to events helped me realize I was really part of a big family. So that was cool. Build relationships with people. So don't just like attack people like a hunter. Like I'm going to catch you and you need to know about Plexus, but really build relationships with people in a genuine way. Find influential people. I think that's one of the biggest things that you said tonight, Lizzie, right? Because if you don't find influential people, you have to work a lot harder, right? Like finding influential people means you kind of multiply your efforts big time because they know a lot of people or they're able to get the job done and you really have a lot of people on board helping you to accomplish your goal. And then you said to have action behind your words. So not just be a Plexus ambassador, but really show in every way that you really are a Plexus ambassador. For you, it was going to bazaars, right? And I'm sure, and you were posting on Facebook and you were, telling people I know in town and all of that. And I think that's really big because I feel like that is really, really big. Because when people see that it's multifaceted, it's Facebook posting, you're telling people when you're out and about, you're having meetings in your home or you're having meetings somewhere else, or the people realize, well, she is really serious about this. This is not a passing fad after all. So I love that. Who has any questions or comments for Lizzie?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Hey Lizzie, this is Cynthia. What did you do you said you had to do some personal development. What was it that you did that you felt really made a difference?
Oh.
That look on your face, Lizzie, was priceless.
Freeze it, yeah. There's a lot of books. I wish I could show you my bookshelf. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. So there's so many books, and different things. Let's see. I can read you the 360 Leader, Lives Women Believe, Les Brown, Live Your Dreams, The Slight Edge, let's see, The Greatest Networker in the World, The Business of the 21st Century. Those are a few books, but really just excuse me, pouring into and even videos. videos that Kelly Norman has done on, breaking past, that barrier, like basically what we talk to ourselves, what we say to ourselves. So, a lot of that, I mean, even still, like affirmations, I mean, that's something that I still work on and, have continued to do because it helps me to, I guess, overcome, different areas that I believed things about myself for a long time. And so it helps me to kind of combat that. Just maybe stepping up to the plate and being a better leader, realizing I need to get back to what got me here. So, what got me here? Recruiting people, talking to people, building a network. And so like building relationships. And so I had to go back to that. So all that was like personal growth for me, pushing past, like doing meetings was really hard for me. I still am not, I do meetings because it stretches me and it pushes me outside of my comfort zones. I don't love doing meetings. But I work to push myself outside of that and do meetings. That's something that really has pushed me to grow. And so I don't know, does that answer your question?
Cynthia?
Yes, thank you. I was on mute and I was like, I can't get mute myself. Yeah, thank you.
Good question. Anybody else?
So Elizabeth, I've been considering, looking into like kind of like farmers markets or things that I could set up a booth. And I was just curious, when you first started doing that, how was that received? Like, did you have a lot of interest at those venues, or did you get a lot of people arguing with you or saying that, hey, you're part of a scam?
No. And, I've never really had people say that I'm part of a scam. And the reason I think that some people encounter that, it's the confidence. It's the confidence in when you talk to someone, I am with Plexus and it's network marketing and it's amazing, and that's what you should do. Another thing is a book that combats that and gives you some really objective.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That cut out, but go try that one more time. I just muted the.
A book that really helps to combat some of those issues is the Flip Flop CEO. So it helps to block objections. So they have like common objections that people have. Like, I read some books, like some of the network marketing books, and I'm like, oh, that one was okay. And then I read some and I'm like, oh, that was amazing. And the Flip Flop CEO is one of those ones that it was amazing.
Okay.
And it really helps to block those objections, to come up with some things, and so sometimes I'll be talking to someone and they'll throw an objection and I'm like, oh, what was it that I read, but, practice makes perfect on that. As far as like the booths and stuff, like that helped me because all the people that I had been talking to went to that area, went to those bazaars. So it gave me validation. As far as just normal people coming into those, it was like, I think I might have signed up a few ambassadors. I think I still have one of those ambassadors that's active today. And she continues to take the product and everything, and she, loves the products. I sold maybe a couple 3-day trials. The biggest thing I think now that I invest my time, any like time or money into, is networking events. And so I feel like if you are wanting to grow your business or, looking to maybe expand your network, then go to networking events. I think that is the biggest thing, like looking back. And it's also a personality thing. You have to figure out what works best for you as well. But networking events, it's all relationship based. So it might take you 3 months going or so, or 4 months going. And you just work on building those relationships with different people there. And then they will, as you continue to build those relationships, they'll be interested in what you have. So, the first time you come, they're going to be like, oh, okay, that's nice. And when I go to a networking event, I don't go out and pass my card out to every single person there. When I go, I work on building a relationship with one person. So my goal is to connect to one person. So say there's 20 people there, I'm going to work on connecting with like a couple people and just trying to like have a real conversation with them and just like, ask them about them, everything. And then connected with them, you can add them on Facebook because you had a great conversation with them, and then they can start seeing your posts. And so that's another way. So anyway.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that advice. Thank you.
That's really good. That's really good. That was something I've been doing to do that is I've been going to, I know you can't do this, Brad. Oh, you could, but it might look funny. I've been going to the library on Friday mornings for story and craft time. You can totally rock
Yeah.
that.
No, I don't think that would be received very well.
I think they'd be looking at Brad like he was a creeper.
Yeah.
And then when I overheard some ladies talking about an oils class, and I said, "Oh, I want to go to an oils class," and I got invited to an oils class, and a couple that I met there came to my meeting on Monday, and I'm having fun networking, so I'm learning from
They're cool too.
What's that?
Great people.
Yeah, Lisa was there at the meeting, and so was Leah. They met them. The people were really nice. Really eager to learn.
Like something that I really worked, because people are part of different businesses. One person might be in Pampered Chef, one might be in Scentsy, one might be in oils. And so when I talk to them, I'm like, don't you love network marketing? Isn't it so awesome that we can all, work to help each other and grow? And, and so I really work trying to help, I guess, foster that connection so they don't feel competitive. Because my goal, I don't want them to feel competitive with me or anything. So when I would try to just try to start a conversation on Facebook or something, I would just message them and be like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you, blah, 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 and don't you just love this industry? Don't you just love network marketing?" And so so then it's like, I can appreciate what business they're in, and they can appreciate what business I'm in. And so, and then I was able to, go to coffee with one of the ladies, and, she shared with me about her products and her compensation plan, and I showed with her my products and my compensation plan. And she's like, wow, and so you don't have to say anything, just you talk, it lets them let their guard down, I guess you could say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried doing something like going up to one of the network marketing people and saying something to the effect of, if you'll try one of my products, I'll try one of yours?
No, but I did sign my husband up for Mary Kay.
Carl using Mary Kay. That's
I don't think my husband would go for that.
If anybody knew that.
Did he know? Does he know you signed him up for Mary Kay?
Yes, he does, because I had to put his social security number. But I think I had hit Emerald or something, and I had met this lady, and I was at a bazaar, and I saw her, and she was like one of those influential people, and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to her. so I went up and I talked to her, and I was like, so I'm with Plexus, and I started looking at the makeup, and I used Mary Kay before, and so she was like, she got my information, and she followed up until I finally went to one of her little events thing. And then they shared about like their business and their compensation plan and stuff. And I talked with her about Plexus, and she would ask me, so what's different in Mary Kay and Plexus? And why is Plexus, and I would like explain it to her. And it was like, there's this like pink Mary Kay shield over them that like, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't penetrate. And so it was just like, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the Mary Kay compensation plan, but they like have this board, and they're like, which one do you want? Like what bonus or what thing do you want? So they don't pay them like with bonuses. They pay them with like a purse. And it's not just like a purse, it's like a purse from Walmart that looks like it's from Walmart that says Mary Kay on it, you know? And so, you know, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I was just sitting there like, are you serious? So they're like, which one do you want? You know, they have all these things on the board. And I was like, I'm okay. You know? But
None of the above, thank you.
but she did try Plexus, and she actually even signed up with Plexus, and she might have ordered her welcome kit and never did anything with it. And I signed Carl up for Mary Kay because I was trying to help her out. And I'm also part yellow, so I want to help people. And so I was like, she was like, I really need your help. And so she really knew how to, I guess, pull at my heartstrings and stuff. And so, anyway, but let me just tell you that their welcome pack was a lot more than our welcome pack. So, I mean, I did get some product and stuff. And I mean, I still see her occasionally, and I still have her on my Facebook, and I, you know, talk to her occasionally, and she's still, you know, she's still happy with her Mary Kay. And I mean, I think it's, I mean, great. If that's what makes her happy, you know, that's awesome. But I wouldn't encourage going and signing up with another company. Yeah, I have another friend who, she's like, yeah, I signed up for, you know, the owl necklaces. What is it called?
Origami Owl.
Yes. Okay. So she signed up with the Origami Owl because she was trying to recruit this one girl. I was like, oh yeah. So we just laugh about it.
That's great. Sometimes building relationships can only go so far, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Awesome. We probably need to bring this to a close, but does anyone else have any more questions for Lizzie while we have all her wisdom on the line?
Oh my dear.
Well, you are Diamond.
Yeah. I'm just me.
Yes.
Just normal.
Anyone else? Okay, well, if there's not,
I would just like to say one thing real quick before you guys stop. You guys are so blessed to have Kyla as a leader. She is amazing. And I hope you guys realize the gem that you have and that you value her, because I mean, like, I've just been blessed getting to know her as a friend and as a, you know, a team member, but I'm really thankful for her and her leadership. So I'm excited for you guys. Y'all are going to go as far as you want to go because she's going to be there to help you every step of the way. So.
Oh, Lizzie, thank you. That was very sweet. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. And I'm going to end this recording for now.